So hi Palak, uh, good evening
Hi
in
Akash.
US, right?
Yeah, it's evening. It's 10:30 here.
Okay. So you were in my school, DPS Noida, and now you're studying abroad, doing business analytics, right?
Yeah, yes.
Right. So as we discussed earlier in our talk, that we should focus on the topic of how, because most of the people who would be watching this video would be those who would be preparing to go abroad or studying for masters. So
Hmm.
let us just cover that topic only, right? So,
Absolutely. Okay.
because most of the life you have lived in India, and there's this stark contrast now that you are seeing in US. So, if we talk in terms of the education system, what difference do you think there is between the Western education and Indian education?
I think education here in the US or in the Western countries is pretty engaging. Like it's not a one-sided communication that happens from like the faculty to us. It's more of a discussion. The faculty is asking us about their opinions. There is perspective. You get to know about perspective from of a lot of people. And we also have the concept of pre-quizzes. That is, we have to read some material
Hmm.
and go before we go to the class. And there are proper pre-quizzes to ensure that we've read through that material, so that there
Right.
can be enhanced discussion. And in Indian universities, as you must have known, there after each topic is covered, there might not be assignments that are given all the time.
Hmm.
But here, after each and every topic, each and every class, we have following assignments. So, and I feel in general also, education in the Western part is more practical as compared to what we have
Yeah.
in India.
Why do you say practical?
Practical because they want us to, so even if in any assignment that they give us,
Hmm.
so they want us to apply our own brain while we're doing it. It's not a
Right.
copy paste assignment. It's not you'll find the questions online.
Hmm.
There is plagiarism. There's strict plagiarism here. That's
Hmm.
like you can't, your assignments cannot be plagiarized. So you have to read through the
Sorry.
material, have to
Yeah.
do everything on your own.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's why
Yeah.
I would say it's practical.
What are the financial barriers? Because most people cannot spend 50 lakh, 70 lakh on a college online abroad. So, what financial barriers you think are there, and how can they be overcome?
Okay. So education in the Western part is of course expensive. It's firstly due to the currency exchange rate
Yeah.
and also because of the value it holds,
Hmm.
in for us. Then when a student is looking to study abroad, they just don't have to see that what is the tuition cost. They also have to look at the living expenses,
Yeah.
the air tickets, the traveling, everything. And so yes, there are financial loans that are available,
Hmm.
education loans that are available. So but the hurdles that I came across while I was searching and visiting banks to apply for loans were
Hmm.
that some banks do not offer loans for a program that is less than 2 years. So
Hmm.
my course is a 9 month course. So some of the banks straight away said no, that we can't give you a loan
Hmm.
because your course is not more than 2 years, is not of 2 years.
Right. Right.
Then there might be a problem of mortgage. So your
Hmm.
family might have to keep their assets as mortgage. And if
Hmm.
there is no mortgage, the interest rates are very high. So these are some of the financial problems that like I came across in the loan terms. Then if you talk about transferring money from India to here,
Hmm.
the international wire transfer. So it's done via international wire transfer.
Hmm.
So you will see that the banks, both side banks, are charging such a high rate of transfer.
Right.
So, and there are also limitations on the forex card.
Hmm.
The daily and monthly and yearly limits that
Hmm.
you can actually transfer. But I would say these problems are there. But on the same side, I think there are opportunities available for students, international students here,
Hmm.
for because of which they can cover their partial or full living expense. Like we have part-time jobs here. We
Hmm.
have researches, internships, and here part-time jobs you can do anything, and you will not be judged on the basis of what you are
Right.
doing. So that's what I feel is these barriers. At least the living cost you can cover on
Hmm.
your own.
Right. And is it mandatory for you to do part-time work if you are
It's
coming
not. If
from
you
India?
are coming from a like well off family,
Right.
you might not even go for part-time jobs. But if you go for part-time jobs that are relevant to your
Hmm.
domain, for example, I'm a course assistant in the
Hmm.
IMBA program
Hmm.
for business analytics only.
Hmm.
So for that course, it's aligns with what I'm actually doing. So it's
Hmm.
adding to my resume.
Right.
It's
Right.
that
Makes
particular
sense.
kind of
Yeah.
part-time job.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how I like doing it.
So if someone cannot put up their house as mortgage, as collateral, are there any other means to get a loan?
Yeah, like I said, there are loans available if you can't put your house,
Hmm.
but those loans are mostly having a lot of high
Right.
rate of interest. So, and there are also other education loans like Prodigy that are available
Hmm.
that are lesser in, but they that have a lesser in rate of interest. But they also see what kind of GRE score you've got, what is your GPA. So they probably want to understand
Right.
that whether the student will be able to get an employment after they do their masters and will be able to
Hmm.
pay back the loan. So these are
Hmm.
the few options.
If you are not a permanent resident, if you are a student from abroad, so is it likely that you will get placement abroad, or do you have to go back to India? Let's not talk about PR right now.
Hmm.
Just take that.
Um,
Yeah.
if you talk about placement, it's a risky thing. I mean,
Hmm.
we all come here with the hope that after completing a master's, people are clear whether they want to go back or they want to stay here.
Hmm.
So for my course, I came here specifically because I know that this country is best for this particular course. Like
Hmm.
the amount of exposure that I will get here, I will not get in back at home.
Hmm.
So this is what I'm hoping for, to get a placement. Or so placement here is not via the colleges don't provide placement. You have
Hmm.
to get your own placement or get your job via the connections you make like in US.
Okay.
Like you have we have career fairs, so you go to career fairs, you talk to the companies, you build a bond with them, and then
Hmm.
you follow up with them on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
So that's how I feel you can, get that placement or get your first job.
Okay. So when you say that the best place to study for your course is right here in the US, so different courses may have different countries which may excel,
Absolutely.
right? So how can a person go about knowing which college is best for them? What kind of research should they do?
There is a lot of research that's required.
Hmm.
So there are quite a lot of sources available on the internet that will tell you which country is best for your course. Like mostly
Hmm.
for mechanical courses, people go to Germany because a
Hmm.
lot of companies there are
Right.
mechanical based.
Hmm.
So for computer courses, people come to US because
Hmm.
here a lot of headquarters of mostly computer or like software companies are there.
Hmm.
So you do your research and choose your country. Then you choose which course you want to go for, which university you want to apply for.
Hmm. So let's talk about PR.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you talk about PR, I think there are a couple of ways how you could actually get a
Hmm.
permanent residence. Or so of course, like go for there's a lottery system that happens every year.
Hmm.
That happens around in the end of the year that you can go for. That's one of the systems in US. Then there is you can receive an employer scholarship, a sponsorship, not scholarship, sponsorship, that where the employer will sponsor your visa here. Then you can also receive sponsorship from a relative who's owning a business in
Hmm.
the US, but that relative also has to show that he had a fair mean of choosing you as the employer. Like basically, he has to
mm,
hire you,
mm,
so you'll be working under him, but
mm.
you will get the sponsorship in that way. Or the last thing is like just marry a US citizen. I mean, yeah. But of course, jokes apart, for that also
Mm,
there's proper background check that's done. So it's
mm.
not something that, can be done like that.
Right. Okay. And does your GPA in the college or your IELTS exam score affect your PR?
Um, I'm not really certain about that, but
Mm,
the company hiring process is somewhat based on the GPA. It's based on
mm,
what course you're doing. So I feel if you're getting hired by a company who's ready to sponsor you,
mm.
that company will see your GPA, what you've done.
Right. Okay. So is it worth spending so much money on masters in abroad, or should a person just complete it from India?
It really depends on what course you want to study. Like for
Mm,
me, I was sure about doing going towards the stream of analytics, business
mm,
analytics in particular. So I
mm,
knew that the kind of exposure that I will have here will
mm,
be way more than what I'll have in India, because it's more developed. People are, it's in full swing right now here. Whereas in India, it's
mm,
still coming up. The roles are still coming up.
mm,
So, but it also does not mean that a degree from a grad school is always required for the profession you want to go for.
mm,
It could also be that the profession you want to go for might not even require a degree, but might require a lot of work experience.
mm,
Like if you want to go for web development, they will not. They might see, yes, you have a good degree in CS, but they will also see what kind of work you've done before, what kind of exposure, what kind of internships you've done. So
mm.
that also really matters.
Right. So, in your opinion, would you recommend students to go abroad?
Definitely. My experience from my experience, I would say that
Mm,
there are a lot of advantages of coming here, ranging from the kind of experience you gain, the global exposure. You meet people coming from various walks of life,
mm,
various age groups, nationalities, backgrounds. And, in the course of being here, you also become very independent.
mm,
So you learn how to be independent. So I would
right.
totally recommend students to come here and experience it.
And if we compare
If
the culture of India
Mhm.
to, say, US, so there's a stark contrast, right?
There is stark contrast. The culture here is way open. People will not judge you for what you want to do. Whereas
Mm,
in India, it'll be like, let's talk in the Hindi term, "हो ये क्या कर लिया?"
mm,
But in US, people are very chill. Like I said, the
right.
part-time jobs also, people are working in dining halls. Like I was
Mm,
also working in a dining hall.
mm,
So it doesn't matter. People will
right.
not judge
It
you
does.
for that.
Yeah. Okay. So, talking about extracurricular activities, like, are there any viable means of achieving your favorite choice of extracurricular activity abroad?
Yeah, definitely. Like my university has a lot of options of exploring uh, extracurricular while I'm doing my like masters.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I can take up electives if I want to.
Mm,
That will not add to my degree requirements, but I can take them up just because I want to,
mm.
go for that extracurriculum.
So, do you
So
think extracurricular? Yeah. Yeah. Please go ahead.
in my course also, like I have friends who've taken music as an extracurricular
Mm,
activity. Like
mm,
they've taken as an elective. So
mm,
yeah, I have examples here.
mm. Okay. So, in your experience, do you think taking extracurricular activities help shape personality?
Definitely, definitely. You get so many new experiences when you're, going beyond your classroom.
Mm,
It helps you relax and provides you that break from your study routine. You learn
mm,
so many life skills that you will not learn in sitting inside a classroom. For example, if you're organizing a particular event, um, So you will learn how to manage a team. You will learn how to stay in budget.
mm,
What promotional strategies you should apply. How to
mm,
convince people to actually work for you or work with you.
mm,
So basically, it will teach you soft skills that no one else will teach you in the classroom.
mm.
You learn time management because you'll have to balance your time between both academics and extracurriculars.
Right.
And apart from that, you interact with so many people
Mm,
outside your class. It makes you more confident, and this
mm.
confidence will come back and come back to you like when to get over that fear of interviews, be it a college interview, a
Right.
job
Right.
interview, or say a podcast with a school senior. So yeah,
And confidence is required in everything, right? In every field, every
absolutely,
aspect. Yeah.
yes, yes,
And it helps you make contacts as well, right? If you interact with other
absolutely,
people, that
absolutely.
will.
So
Yeah.
like I said, networking here is very important.
Yeah.
So if you're not confident enough to walk up to a people or walk into a room of
Hmm.
like full of people who
Hmm.
are strangers to you, it'll be very difficult. So you need
Hmm.
to have that confidence.
Hmm. Okay. So, do you think that having musical talent will help you get a job in data analytics?
Definitely, I would not say that it
Hmm.
it's not relatable, but it's not related. But you know, music in general, for me, when I was doing music while I was studying, while I was in my college, it
Hmm.
helped me relax a lot. So
Right.
I felt that it was just so I had a full day of work, and then when I used to go
Hmm.
step into that room, just with my friends jamming, it would actually help me just relax. So
Hmm.
yes, it will not get you that data analytics job, but it might even lead to some connections, and it
Right.
might even lead to just relaxing and just chilling out. When
And
you're
it is
stressed
such a,
about job, especially.
yeah, good coping mechanism. Like
Definitely.
people here, I mean, sometimes resort to drugs to cope up with hard times. But if you can use this as a means to relax, so much better,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. uh, how has extracurricular activities helped you in admission vis-a-vis those who may be more qualified?
So imagine a scenario. I was applying to a business school where people come in with minimum 4 to 5 years of experience.
Hmm.
And when you see my CV, you will see that I don't have any job experience. Like I have internship experiences. I have leadership, volunteering. I had extracurricular activities in my college, and I had projects. That's all I had on
Hmm.
my CV while I was applying. So in fact, one out of the three letters of
Hmm.
recommendations that I got was from a faculty who never taught me, but was my faculty head in all these extracurricular activities and volunteering activities.
Hmm.
So you can understand how important it is for these universities to see
Hmm.
that you were involved in extracurricular activities. It basically is a reflection of how willing you are to learn, whether you're
Hmm.
a team player or not.
Hmm.
And it also shows how adaptable or what kind of
Right.
a well-rounded person you are.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it got me my way. I believe.
So what are the important documents that you need before applying abroad?
Um, the of course a valid passport, academic transcripts. So sometimes even mark sheets work, but really depends on what university you're applying to,
Hmm.
and you should mail your university before submitting your mark sheets instead of
Hmm.
transcripts if they are okay with you submitting that. Then there are letters of recommendations. Mostly all
Hmm.
the universities require 2 to 3 letters of recommendations from your employers or professors if unemployed.
Hmm.
Make sure for that, make sure that you have a good rapport with your faculty or managers.
Hmm.
Make sure that they know you, they know your work, and they know what you want to do in that university, why you're applying for that university.
Hmm.
So that's how they'll be able to understand what to write in the letter of
Hmm.
recommendation. Apart from that, there is a statement of purpose. It's an
Hmm.
essay that captures your academic journey so far, like what you've done, what kind of projects, what kind of internships, jobs you've had, and what is your career goal? What's there in the future? What do you want to do? Where do you see
Hmm.
yourself in 5 years? So, and just when you're writing a statement of purpose, it should not be common for all the universities you're applying for. Every university
Right.
has a key thing, like has one thing that's different that it is giving that no other university has. So you should always customize your SOP or your statement of purpose for each university, and that too for each particular course you're applying for.
Hmm.
Apart from that, there is a resume plea, like you should keep it updated and follow the university guidelines, what number of pages they want, what number of characters they are approving. And apart from that, there is a proof of funding also that you might need to provide before or after your
Hmm.
admission letter is issued. It's a set of financial documents that shows that you have enough financial backup to
Hmm.
support you while you're doing
Right.
your work. While you will be studying there.
Right. So during the visa interview, what kind of questions should they ask?
So they will ask you one thing, that who will be funding your education? What's your purpose of going to that university?
Hmm.
Why just that university? Why not some other university? So they'll
Hmm.
be grilling you on these 3-4 questions, and they want to know, will you be coming back to India
Right.
or
Right.
not?
Very important. Yeah.
That's a very, very important question.
Right.
So they want to know, what is your purpose? Are you actually going there just to settle, or is your purpose actually studying and then probably seeing if you want to settle or not?
Hmm. Okay. So what are the kind of eligibility tests that you have to give to study abroad?
Uh,
Elaborate on that.
there So the eligibility tests might vary from university to
Hmm.
university. Like there are two types of English tests that are there: TOEFL and IELTS. There are other qualification tests like mostly the GREs that mostly
Hmm.
science background or mathematical background students have to give in order to
Hmm.
qualify. Then there's GMAT for management courses mostly,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure about that. So for my university in particular, I had given the IELTS and the GRE.
Right. So let's talk about IELTS. How do
Mhm.
you prepare for it?
Well, IELTS for me was easy because I prepared from just the website and the book and some
Hmm.
YouTube channels. And I didn't even give it much time. I gave it 2 hours per day for 2 weeks, and I was able to do it. But it really depends on what kind of
Hmm.
what level you are there like at when you're doing your preparation. So I
Hmm.
would really say take a mock test, know where you stand, and then start preparing, and then take a mock test again to actually understand how well you've done, how well you've
Right.
learned over that semester, like that part.
Can you explain to the listeners what IELTS actually is?
IELTS is the International English Language Testing System. There are
Hmm.
4 sections for that. There is a reading section that's mostly like the reading comprehensions we used to do in
Hmm.
school. Then there's a
Hmm.
writing where they'll give you a statement that you have to write about. You have to just explain, write
Right.
in some words. Then there's listening, in which they will give you an audio and they'll give you important things in that audio, and you have to fill in a
Hmm.
sheet that's there or take the correct answers. And
Hmm.
then there's speaking. So it's mostly a speaking test where you have to go in and talk to somebody about, like, that there's an evaluator who will evaluate you on the basis of the vocabulary, the fluency, and the pronunciation.
Hmm.
So yeah, these are the 3 things that they
Right.
mostly evaluate on.
So, yeah. Any resources that you can give for college hunting and examination preparation?
Are you okay, Akash?
I am fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So any so talking about the resources, I feel people don't understand how important it is to research before you start applying. So I would say, if you want to apply to a university, you should start at least a year before your
Hmm.
application begins, or at least a year before you see yourself in that university.
Hmm.
Um, for college hunting, I personally used a website called yourkit.com, which basically helps you research and finalize universities. It'll help you keep a track of what applications you've put in, where you've gotten your acceptance from, where you've gotten your rejections from. Then there is College Dunya. There is topuniversities.com, which will give you a basic outline of what particular courses are, what kind of courses are offered, where they're offered. Then there is for each university you're applying to or you're planning to apply to, you should also go to their particular page, research, understand what courses they have, even write emails if you have to write to their contact us pages if they don't have enough information. Then talking about the consultant part, there is IDP education that I use personally for consultant. And I'm so sorry. Can we do this part again?
Yeah. No, I can cut this.
No, I was smiling like an idiot. I'll start again. This time. Okay. You can also start again because you also did if you want to do it.
Did I?
Yes.
But I was looking cute.
Okay.
You can answer it.
Okay. So I think let's
college
so I'll start
hunting.
with college hunting. Okay, let's start with the college hunting process. I used Yockit for that. There is a way to it's a website that helps you research and finalize your universities. It helps you keep a track of your applications. You can manually go and check in which university you've applied to, whether you've gotten a rejection or an acceptance. So you'll know where am I getting the acceptance from, where am I getting the rejections from. There's also an average of the profiles that's there mentioned on the Yockit.com that have been able to get an admission. So say if my course has the course I want to apply for has a cutoff rate at 320. Most of the people are getting at 320 GRE scores. So if my score is less than that, should I take a chance of applying? Or what do I do? So you'll get all that information on Yockit.com. It's one very, very important and very, very good website I found. Then there's College Dunya, topuniversities.com. Then there is, you should go and research on each university page that you want to apply for. They have clear mentions about what kind of courses they have, what is the course material, how long is the duration, what faculty will be teaching that particular course. You can research about the faculty as well. So then I would say for preparation, I use Times Education for my GRE preparation, and there's the GRE official website also, and the GRE books that they send when you register for GRE that can also be used. Then there's one very important thing that people often miss out is, or start working very late on, is the vocabulary. There are GRE flashcard. There's an mobile application called GRE flashcards for vocabulary building. So you can do that every day and try to build up, your vocabulary by say at least 200 words per month. It seems a lot, but it'll help you a lot in the future, when you're actually giving the GRE, because it focuses a lot on the vocabulary. Then for consultant, I had IDP education for consultant.
Okay, so how was your experience with the travel agency?
With the consultant, you think?
Yeah.
IDP education was a free education consultant. They'll help you, you'll have to write your own the resumes, you'll have to write your own statement of purposes, you'll have to get your faculty to write the LORs for you. But they'll be there to actually help you cross-check them, all of these things, and finalize your application when you're applying. And they'll also help you with the visa process, like the application you have to do on your own, but like in my case, they helped me a lot with preparing me for the visa interviews.
Right.
So, but one thing that you should always keep in mind, that you are responsible for your application. You are responsible for the research work. They will not do any research for you. They'll give you the university names that you could apply to, and
Right.
they might have tie-ups with various universities. So they'll
Mm,
tell you that you should apply to this particular university. So, but you have to do the research work for that university also
mm,
before you apply.
mm.
Um, and also remember that each consultant has a lot of students that they're looking at
Mm.
one particular time. I'll tell you one
Definitely.
incident
Yeah.
that happened with me. I wanted to apply for UIC, University of
Mm,
Illinois, Chicago.
mm,
But I had submitted all my documents to my consultant,
mm,
but she missed the deadline. She did not submit my application. And I contacted her 2 weeks after the application date was gone, thinking that I was relaxed that she has
mm-hmm.
applied.
Obviously, yeah.
So, but she had not applied, so I missed that opportunity of getting it. But it's okay. Life has its own ways. So, but anyways, so this is one of the mistakes
Mm,
I made. I did not follow up with whether she had applied or not. So you have to take responsibility. You cannot depend on consultants solely.
mm.
So yeah, these are some of the things. That's my experience with my consultant.
Right. And do you have any relatives living here?
I do. I have my uncle who's staying here
So
in
did
North
it
Carolina.
make it easier for you to travel here,
To
study here?
no,
Yeah.
actually, I would say a mix of both, yes or no, yes and no, because he stays a little far from where I
Okay.
am right now. But once there was a time when I needed I needed money because my forex card was blocked. It
Mm,
could not take in my more top up. So that's
mm,
when he helped me out. So
mm,
next day my forex card was working, so I transferred it back to him. But
mm.
it was like a just God
Right.
in disguise, I would say.
Okay. You gave some very educational tips. Achha, last thing I want to ask you, 10th and 12th mark sheets, how much do they matter?
10th and 12th, they don't really matter. I mean, some universities ask for that. Some
Hmm.
universities will not ask for that.
Right. Okay. Okay. So I'll stop the recording here. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure.